now because we have a green box and we have a live counter, so it should be showing up as live.
Cool.
Oh, hello there, everyone. We live. Allegedly. I might still die. But we're here, and we're affecting the masses. Preferably our own, but, like, sometimes it's just hard to diet and exercise properly. With that, let's begin our Mass Effect podcast, joined by our lovely guest stars who don't show up very often, Mill and Jack.
Hello there.
Hello.
Oh, and I guess Laura and Dylan are... Well, Laura's here, Dylan may be arriving at a later date.
We have no idea if or when he's going to be on.
But yeah, we just before we started, we were talking about people getting horny in space, and boy, does Mass Effect do that a lot.
What?
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Looking at you, Liara.
Liara did, like, proposition us at least twice.
I mean, yeah.
Can you blame her? Shepard is such a magnet for both dudes and babes.
Yeah. I mean,
And we have our suspicions that Caden was...
If we want to talk about Mass Effect, let's talk about the most important thing first. Which Shepard?
we went with Fem.
That's the correct choice.
I need
glad
to play a
we're-
friendship run at some point.
But yeah,
I did M-Shep runs, and honestly, Mark Meer is not a bad actor or anything, but it's probably one of Jennifer Hale's best performances, and if you have
Jennifer
one of
Hale's
the,
a fantastic
Yeah,
voice actress all around.
if you have one of the best actresses in the game, being at just performing at peak level, then it's kind of hard to get up there for anyone else. So yeah.
Also, based on, like, the comparative video I've seen, it just feels like FemShep is kind of just a lot more tired and done with everything than M-Shep, which adds charm.
I can see that.
Even Paragon FemShep has a very low tolerance for bullshit. That's definitely true.
But yeah, anyway, back to the horniness.
we're also fairly sure that Caden was spreading stories that he was dating us, which we were not happy about.
I don't think that actually happens in the canon game.
Oh, poor Caden.
You
Well,
say
we
you
let him
say-
die anyway, so that's fine.
You say that, but Liara was pretty sure we were a thing.
Yeah, completely
Yeah, but-
unprompted as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but that's just her making an ass out of you and Ming by assuming.
Yeah, she's not very good.
We
at the whole-
literally never talked to Caden after that first, like... Once we got Garrus and Rex in, we literally just didn't talk to Caden or...
I didn't talk to him. That's so unfortunate. He's so boring.
Caden or Ashley.
Yeah.
We just ignored the two racists.
Well,
Caden
Caden
is
is
not
not
really that bad.
overtly racist.
At least not at all compared to Ash.
So, see, part of the thing is that basically the main powers in the setting are ethno-states. So it's kind of hard to separate, like, whether someone is being xenophobic, racist, or just like has political leanings that are like, I don't think that this political group is trustworthy, but they don't have any, like, racist reasons for thinking that. It's just the unfortunate coincidence of the fact that, hey, this entire political bloc is also entirely consistent of one race.
Yeah. I mean,
So-
I'm not sure Ashley was supposed to be as bad as she turned out to be when they wrote her.
Yeah,
But they
I think
just
they
gave her
tried.
a few lines that are just completely... I mean, the famous one is obviously the Citadel.
Yeah.
When you talk to her on the Citadel and she says something like, I can't tell the aliens from the animals, and that's...
Yeah, that's a
You're
bit
done, thank you very much.
awful.
I'm fairly sure that the thing that turned us against her was what she said about the Keepers. I can't remember exactly what it was. off the top of my head.
The Keepers are a weird thing.
Ironically enough, she was like not necessarily correct, but less wrong about the Keepers being awful.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Keepers.
We can't blame the Keepers for that.
Well, the Keepers were more a symptom of awfulness than the direct.
The Keepers are
awfulness.
essentially robots. They just happen to be organic. Like, I don't think the Keepers have free will of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely not.
But they rhyme with Reaper, though.
That's because they're the servants of the Reapers, completely unwittingly.
I do wonder sometimes. In a game like Mass Effect that's supposed to be set with, like, universal translators and stuff, I think people underestimate the sheer difficulty of making a universal translator work.
Mm.
And do you know what the reason for that is?
Because the humanity alone has so many languages.
No, because puns.
Oh yeah, that'll do it.
Right? Like, I'm talking about the fact that every organic language has idiosyncrasies. All of them. There's, like... English is worse than others because it's, like, 9 different languages wearing a trench coat stacked on top of each other. But, like... I have to imagine it must be a pain in a universe like Mass Effect. Like, some of these creatures don't even communicate verbally.
Yeah, but I mean, they do also have basically AIs and quantum computing, so who the fuck knows?
And magic space wizards.
And magic space wizards, of course. So I don't think those figure into the translators.
I don't know, the magic space wizards tend to come with a lot of psychic powers, so I feel like some level of telepathy is necessary.
I do like that they, in the codex entry for languages, they essentially say, yeah, there's translators, but really all the people who want to seem smart just learn a few languages because it's...
You know,
the more
Mass Effect is a fascinating world, and this is actually one of the things I will say to its credit. Not that there's not good things to say about it, but this is one of the things that stuck out to me the most. They built a world that has a lot of internal incongruency with regards to the level of technology, and in hindsight, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's generally Mass Effect 1 is kind of a masterclass in world building because it feels incredibly lived in by, as you said, by different species of different like level of technology and just comfort with the world they live in.
Well, that's not even what I meant. What I meant is that on a societal level, their technology is really advanced in some places and, like, not nearly as advanced in other places, and that makes perfect sense because they're working off the seed technology the Reapers left, and clearly the Reapers would not have left things that could have been out of control.
Correct.
And what's interesting is that I don't know if this was an intentional decision from the side of the writers, but it's kind of a proven psychological fact that a lack of comfort breeds complacency.
Correct.
Yeah, of course. I mean...
And the fact that so many advanced technologies were just available to these civilizations from the get-go must have cut down on innovation.
I'm very sure that that's very intentional because that's
essentially
what the Reapers do. They give you the path to develop along, and it's just incredibly unlikely that you'll stray from this path.
Speaking of the Reapers, what did you guys think of the Reaper reveal on Vermeer?
So I'm gonna be honest with you, it's like a 14-year-old game. I knew Reapers were a thing, kind of going in. I didn't know any details, of course, but, like, it's a 14-year-old game. You spend any amount of time on the internet, and from the memes alone, you get spoiled a decent amount.
That's fair, but, like,
kind of in the same boat. Kind of in the. I admittedly didn't expect Sovereign to be a Reaper. Like, I knew of the Reapers. I didn't realize they could be a ship.
In fact, they're all ships, apparently.
Yep.
Which, when you think about it, is kind of one of the optimal ways for an AI to develop itself, right?
If you're a spacefaring AI, what else are you gonna be, right?
Like, let's be real. Okay, I have a question. Here's a very important question. Who started this trope that the AI civilization and the hive mind civilizations in general are a single, possibly monosyllabic word preceded by the?
I don't know who started
Well, Reapers
it.
are 2 syllables.
Well, no, but like the Geth, the Borg, the Vord, the Scourge, like whatever you call it, why does it always follow that naming convention? They're freaking living quantum computers. You'd think they'd be better at naming.
But I think
Maybe it's just catchier or more efficient.
yeah, it's that, like, you don't want it to be a long name because you want people to be able to utter it out quick, because like it speaks to the efficiency of the quote-unquote organism. But no, going back to the scene. As for me, who I think Mass Effect 1 might be the video game I have played the most of all video games. Both the Reaper reveal as well as Shepard getting to be a Spectre are 2 scenes that give me shivers to this day. Every time I play it.
Yeah, no.
Yes, they are just two incredibly well-made scenes.
Okay. I can
agree.
understand the Reaper reveal. However, I feel that, and this is probably just a product of its time, in Mass Effect 1, right?
Yep.
I feel like gameplay and story segregation was to its detriment in some points. What I mean by that is that the Spectre thing was not a big deal to me because there was literally no difference from a gameplay perspective.
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
I kind of get that.
It doesn't really make you stronger in any meaningful way. It just gives you resources and.
Well, that's the thing. They didn't give us any resources either.
Yes, they do. I mean, you have to buy them.
Yeah, that's the thing. They they give you the permit to buy them, but you still have to get the resources yourself. It was like,
well, fuck capitalism.
You know what? Yes, but I don't think that's what they were going for.
No, definitely don't. No, I mean, I get what you mean, but I don't think. I wouldn't know how to fix that in the type of game Mass Effect is, and even in the universe, because like the Council even specifically says, you don't get better by becoming a Spectre. You become a Spectre by being the best. That's essentially what the Solarian Councilor says.
Yeah, but like at least pay us is the thing.
I mean, they do give you the most advanced ship.
I'm pretty sure you get money for
basically
completing
space.
missions.
Well, okay, yes, okay, but like we're getting distracted from the real topic.
I mean, just sticking on this topic for a second, I feel like we made more money by doing odd jobs around the Citadel than we did actually working as a Spectre.
Entirely possible. I did not keep track.
No,
Yeah, we
neither
got
did
paid
I.
more
But
from like killing one Eldritch Void Worm than we did from completing most of our Citadel, like Council approved missions.
I mean, it's not like you need money in Mass Effect. It's not the game where you actually need to buy things. The only thing you need to buy are the level 10 weapons.
Fair enough. But yes, back to the real pressing question. Goddamn 2007, why is this game so horny?
Remember
were you
remember when this game being horny was a controversy? Like when people were all
Yeah,
up
I
about
remember.
that?
Okay, not only was it a
Hilarious.
controversy, it was also seen as like somehow like
Basically porn.
yeah, and I'm just like
Just like the
I
funniest.
had the thing is they had pornography in 2007.
I mean, they also had like at least The Witcher 1, which is much more explicit.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just like, why was this the game that people's like, oh,
Because
so
Fox
scandalous?
News is run by a bunch of
I mean, probably.
and they're the ones who sensationalized it.
I do find it hilarious that once the person who like started it admitted that they hadn't played it, people started review bombing their book, saying that they never read the book but felt fully qualified to talk about it.
That whole episode was just so stupid from start to finish.
I feel like that's just poetic justice at its best.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, but again, the whole episode was just so dumb.
So I am wondering about something. How much of this do you think was the devs like testing the waters?
I don't think
know,
so.
but I do know that the backlash to you being able to romance Liara is part of the reason that there were fewer same-sex romance options in 2.
Yeah.
Right, 2000. So yeah, we forget about this, but like,
yeah, that was a thing.
Like the aughts were kind of a hellscape.
Not only do people fuck in this game, it also might be same-sex, kind of, sorta, not really, but. But
it's the whole disc lesbians thing. But
I mean,
it's not...
I mean, we don't have to get into.
We don't need.
In 2007 they weren't willing to like start talking about same-sex romances, let alone the possibility that Liara might not actually have a gender.
Yeah, exactly.
So, well, are they agender or are they fudas?
By all indications, they are biologically female. They just they reproduce via a weird form of parthenogenesis.
But
well, it's not entirely parthenogenesis, because like they can assimilate genetic material from outside sources.
Yes, but it is partial parthenogenesis.
Yeah,
and that they only need
essentially different
to catalyze the reaction. But yeah.
Now
so basically, they are all female in that they all can bear children, but they are also not female, and that the distinction male-female just doesn't make sense to Asari.
But like, why did they gotta have boobs though?
Because they're supposed to be biological. They're supposed to be female, I guess. I don't know. It is basically meant to signify that they are at least somewhat mammalian, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. Another thing I don't want to get too deep into, but I think we shouldn't go full on Thermian argument and justify everything in story. There are out of story justifications, of course, and one of them is that Mass Effect
horny.
Is actually but it's why is it so horny? Because it's actually not really science fiction, because it's more space opera stuff, and it's more interested in these emotional beats and in these people connection themes. It doesn't really give a shit about science fiction. As I said before we actually started recording, the science stuff is relatively well researched for what it is, especially in the first game, but not to a very big... it's not hard sci-fi by any means, because it's not really interested in being sci-fi. Okay. It's more interested in being a take on Star Wars.
Well, see, you brought up a very interesting point, because it just occurred to me that there's a comparison to be made with soap operas. I know you said space operas, but they're both operas of some sort. Soap operas famously are also simultaneously very horny and not very explicit at all.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, that's just media, right?
Well, there's there's branches to media. I mean, even looking in this studio, right? The level of horniness achieved in the Mass Effect series can barely hold a candle to a game like Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah, and as a precursor to Mass Effect in both what the game actually is and also kind of horniness, there's Knights of the Old Republic 1, which is very much the blueprint they made Mass Effect on.
Mm-hmm.
I forget that they're the ones who made KOTOR.
They're not only the ones who made KOTOR, it's literally the same writer. Drew Karpyshyn wrote the first Mass Effect and wrote Knights of the Old Republic 1.
Huh. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
I mean, yeah. And he's also just a very good writer. I highly recommend his books. But enough of that. No, Mass Effect is definitely made from the same cloth as Knights of the Old Republic 1.
It definitely tracks.
Yeah.
It's to the point that I wonder, you think there was some sort of do you think they wanted to make a new IP, or do you think they may have wanted to maybe tie it into Star Wars somehow, but they couldn't get the license?
I think I remember they very much wanted their own IP. That was very much the idea to basically move away from Star Wars and get to do your own thing. Because for example, in a Star Wars game, even back then, even before it was a Disney property, in a Star Wars game, no one's ever gonna fuck. Like, that's just not going to happen.
And people be horny, so...
And people be horny.
Yes, funnily enough, the only person in the entire Star Wars franchise that you can canonically prove has boned down is Anakin.
Stop Vader, exactly.
And that was
and apparently
Palpatine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd repressed
let's not
that.
Get into that. Let's not get into that.
Let's not get into that. No, but I think I actually read an interview with someone, probably Casey Hudson or someone at BioWare once, where they said no, they were very explicitly looking to make their own IP and not do a Star Wars game.
Which makes sense.
I mean, yeah, you don't want to be the license kid all the time. I think they were offered Knights of the Old Republic 2 and didn't take it, and that's why Obsidian got it. But again, let's not get into that.
Getting back to the game, Fuzzy Mill, since this was your first time playing, what are your overall thoughts on the game? Just positives and negatives.
We're talking story or gameplay?
Let's go story first.
Mill, you've been a bit quiet. You want to start on this?
Story-wise, I mean, it's an enjoyable enough story. It's not, particularly complex or even necessarily that deep, but it's still a decent enough story, I think. I mean, maybe it's hurt a little bit by the fact that Fuzzy and I did, know about the Reapers pretty much from minute one, which does sort of affect that, reveal, as well as the fact that, again, because it is a 14-year-old game now, we were well aware of the choice we would have to make at the end of the game. Not to mention the fact that those two were probably our least favourite companions means that there was very little impact. It was basically A, who do we hate less, and B, who has a chance of being better in the future.
Yeah, the thing is, Ashley and Caden are unfortunately the least interesting members of the original squad. But at the same time,
honestly, that never gets better. Like, I don't think it's a spoiler to say they do return in later games, or whoever survives returns in later games, and doesn't really get more interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the human squad members are usually the least interesting, with possible exception of a couple of the ones in 2.
Yeah, but even there, I mean, let's not get into 2 now, but jeez.
Yeah.
Okay, my favourite bit of the story is the fact that everyone and their mother could see that Jenkins was going to die the minute he stepped onto the planet, and then he did.
Well, he's called
His name was literally Richard L. Jenkins.
Yeah. And the L does canonically stand for Leroy. Like,
oh my god, that's amazing.
Right,
because in 2007, and when the game was being developed, Leroy Jenkins was a relatively fresh meme.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
It's still a meme today, but it was fresh back then.
But that's canonically his middle name is Leroy. He's Richard Leroy Jenkins and dies because he runs into danger.
Mm-hmm. It was just hilarious that Fuzzy and I talked to him on the Normandy before we actually landed, and we were both just like, he's gonna die, isn't he? And then we've got onto the planet, and he just fucking died instantly.
Yeah, I mean, jeez. Imagine having 3 human squad mates. Oh my god.
I would have preferred to have Jenkins than Ashley.
I mean, who wouldn't?
Understandable.
Jenkins at least would have been amusing just to see him continually dodge death and death flags.
I feel like 2007 was before genre self-awareness really took off.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely.
definitely. I mean, I think 2007 was the year before the first Iron Man came out, and Marvel is basically what did that. So
It's true, people complain a lot about Marvel, but it did, like...
It kind of made...
I'm not even complaining. I'm just saying that that's what made the whole genre self-awareness thing huge.
Yeah. I mean, it also kind of popularized franchising to a degree that hasn't been
It's
seen
unhealthy.
before.
You can just go out and say
Yeah.
it.
I wasn't saying it was unhealthy necessarily, but I was saying, like, it kind of established a precedent for genre making. Genre making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean. Franchise building.
But yeah, I mean, beyond those two and Liara, I mean, Garrus, Tali, and Rex were fun companions. Rex especially.
Rex is great.
Rex is fantastic. Rex is our baby boy.
I basically...
Your grandpa?
Look, Rex
Why?
transcends age.
I mean, kind of, yeah.
But so,
Kind of.
here's the thing. Rex was hands down my favorite party member.
Mm-hmm.
Not surprising.
Yeah, that tracks. Having only played Mass Effect 1, that absolutely tracks.
Gary was okay.
Garrus was okay. He's just not aged well as a cowboy cop figure or corrupt cop figure. It's not the best look right now.
Yeah, definitely not.
I wouldn't say corrupt, but definitely a cowboy cop. Yeah.
And Tali feels like they were planning for more games and they knew that she was going to be there the entire time.
Yeah, so I will say something about Tali that is going to incite the blood mob. I don't really see the appeal of Tali other than the fact that, people be horny.
I mean, the thing is...
I'm sorry, what?
Again, I don't really want to get into later games, because that's not really the point of today, and that would kind of ruin the experience for you. In Mass Effect 1, Tali is very much a BioWare party member. Like, if you've played other BioWare games from and before that period, you always have that one party member who is, like, from a different culture and who talks about her culture all the time, and everything they do is for their culture, and that's very much who she is in Mass Effect 1. Again, because, as I said earlier, Mass Effect 1 is kind of more of a world-building game. Like, Mass Effect 1 is not so much about its actual story.
And
it's very much set up for the future.
that actually brings me to my second point. As a direct consequence of that, I think, Mass Effect 1, I mostly liked it. But what disappointed me was that there were a lot of, things that were not really part of the main story that were more interesting than the main story.
Like what?
Well, I think the thing that disappointed me the most out of anything was the one little relatively inconsequential side quest about a gambling cheating program that developed Sapiens and became a full-blown AI. And it just ended in the most anticlimactic way possible. And I was like, no, but I really like
you don't like playing Simon Says?
Look. Okay.
No, I absolutely get what you mean. Like, that's the lamest ending for that quest, that you just do the left, right, down, down, up, left.
But no, it's not even that. It's that the reaction and attitude to AIs versus VIs in this world is just so much more interesting to me, especially in light of the existence of Reapers, and I wanted to see more of that, in the main story, but it was just an inconsequential side bit, and I just
it's a lot more
I
relevant.
know it's a lot more prevalent, but I'm speaking just to my experiences in Mass Effect 1.
I get that, but in universe it's very easy to justify, because it's just not really something people it's not a problem people have. It's just AIs are illegal, so there are basically no AIs.
Well, that's the thing, though. Making something illegal is kind of the fastest way to make them widespread.
Not in the way AIs are illegal. Like you just can't. Like you need. Oh God, whatever.
There's kind of what's the
blue box
word?
thing.
Darn, I can't think of the word off the top of my head. Shoot.
Yeah, well, you're thinking. Basically, I'm just...
Stigma. There's kind of stigma against AIs.
That's fair, but like, that's just one of the, like, little things. There's, like, little... I don't know, it just feels like... You know, okay, I've figured out what my biggest problem with Mass Effect is.
Oh?
At least the first game. It's a very human-centric game.
Mm.
And I kind of just, like... The humans are the least interesting part of the series to me.
They're also kind of the worst.
I mean, like, we're speaking from experience here, so yes, I can imagine.
The fact is that literally the first time we got control of Shepard, we did try and shoot Joker in the back of the head.
Joker does get better as a character, but yeah.
Well, unfortunately, you know, if we had had our way, he would have been out of the Normandy instantly. But unfortunately, he attached himself to the pilot's chair, and nobody can get him free.
I mean, if you get him free, he'll just break his legs.
We wouldn't have even necessarily thrown him off. We wouldn't have even necessarily thrown him off the Normandy. We would have just sent him to clean bathrooms like we did with Presley.
Wow!
He will break every bone in his body doing that.
Like, he is a very fragile person. He literally has the brittlest of bones.
Well, he's Samuel L. Jackson from that one movie franchise.
Oh yeah, Glass and Unbreakable and such.
Yeah, kind of. Without the
Except,
crazy...
you know, not as cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's Seth Green.
Nobody can be as cool as Samuel L. Jackson.
But nobody's as cool as Sam Jackson. Like, that's obvious.
Yeah. Also, side tangent, just going back to the AI stuff. Who came up with the first, like, or who came up with the idea that the instant we give technology, like, sentience, it's going to try and kill us?
I do not know, but...
I mean, to be fair, isn't that what happened? How the Reapers came about?
No, I think he means, like, IRL.
Like meta.
No, like, in real life. It is a tangent. It's not attached to Mass Effect.
Probably... In a roundabout way, Mary Shelley when she wrote Frankenstein.
No,
that might actually be the origin.
Not even there. If you go back to the root, the original Jewish golem.
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, stuff like that definitely. I mean,
because it's the fear of AI comes from, and this is something that the Golem legend did bring up very well, is the fear of something that follows its instructions completely literally and without flexibility. Because the thing is, that's not how living beings work. And it's kind of just like a combination of the logical consequences of something that follows instructions exactly, as well as just the sort of otherness.
You'll learn more about it when you about Mass Effect's take on AIs once you get more into the second game, especially. But basically, AIs function on a fundamentally different way than organic minds do. Like, they do not operate in the same way that meat brains do.
Yeah.
There's also one thing that's not spoken of enough.
Mm-hmm.
AIs are built to be these perfect brains, but they were built by imperfect meat brains.
Mm.
So, like, even if even if they make other AI, those AI are still going to have a few generations worth of hidden imperfections from the original AI, which get them from the imperfect meat brains that built them.
Again, without getting too much into it, Mass Effect kind of goes around that by having, like, AIs are based on this thing Mass Effect calls the blue box, which is essentially their quantum computer core thing, and basically no one knows what happens in there because, again, it's an AI and that's how they explain away that thing. But yeah, it's very much that just the way an AI approaches problem solving is completely different and alien to organic minds because they work differently. But you'll get to that when you play the other games, definitely. The topic does become more prevalent. Not like it's never really. I mean, it's the main story in so far that the Reapers are AIs, but they are not really. How do I say this? Like, the problem with the Reapers isn't really that they are AIs. The problem with the Reapers is that they are the Reapers.
Yeah, no, with a name like that makes perfect sense that they'd be problematic.
But going back to Mass Effect 1, something I really like about Mass Effect 1, and that plays into this thing with there's so much going on in the universe and much of it more interesting than the actual story. I think there's a certain beauty to just how the political sphere of Mass Effect is constructed, because you have this very obvious and understandable through line. Like, you had thousands of years ago, you had the Geth Uprising, and that's why nobody likes Quarians. And Quarians went out into space.
More like a couple hundred years ago.
Yeah, that was a couple. Yeah, it was. And that's why Quarians basically don't exist except for the one you have on your team. And but the more interesting line of political happenings starts basically with the Ragnar Wars, because you had the Ragnar Wars and they couldn't win them, so they uplifted the Krogans. And because of the Krogans, they won the Ragnar Wars, but then the Krogan rebellions happened as a direct result of that. And basically through that, Turians gained power and importance. And because Turians were important, humans are in the position they are today, because humans and Turians got off on a pretty bad foot with the First Contact War. And that's just, like, if you read through how all the shit is constructed, it's just a very well-constructed world. Like, it's just good through line of why the world at the entry point for the player is the way it is. And that's something I don't think I've seen anything do as well as Mass Effect.
Yeah, it's a very interesting chain of cause and effect that leads to the present.
You know what's funny?
And it's not just interesting; it's understandable. It's not just they tell you that's how it is, and you go, okay, that's how it is. No, it makes sense. That it's logical. That's the beautiful thing about it.
So, here's something that's kind of funny. I have a very specific sort of way I like to experience media, and I think that that aspect of Mass Effect makes the game part of it worse for me. I am the type of person who would rather have a detailed, objective, like, history textbook set in this universe than actually play the game.
So you spent quite a bit of time reading the codex, didn't you?
Yeah, I skipped that and just went straight to the wiki.
There'd be spoilers there, dude.
Yeah, but, like, I've been spoiled on basically everything that can be spoiled at this point. Like, that has nothing to do with, like I said, it's a 14-year-old game. The franchise has been around for over a decade. Just through memes alone, I basically know all of the major hitting points of the series. It's just kind of... it's about the journey, not the destination. Something, Brandon Sanderson, beatboxing middle-aged scientist. I saw that just as an aside, I saw the other day that Rhythm of War is essentially 400 pages of two old ladies beatboxing to make pretty lights.
It's hilarious.
And accurate!
Mm-hmm.
And I hate it. But yeah, so I'm kind of just like, give me lore. I don't care about gameplay. Just give me lore.
Speaking of the gameplay as well.
Oh, yeah. Shall we get to that now, then?
So on a scale from 1 to 10, how much did you hate driving around in the Mako?
In general, it
Oh,
was
boy.
okay. It was just on certain worlds that were incredibly hilly. It was just a
And you
complete
get the better
bitch.
version of the Mako.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But to be perfectly honest, it's not that much better.
Yeah, no, I mean, to be fair, the original version before the remaster was still janky as fuck.
Yeah, just in a different way.
Like, I mean, I'm fairly sure, because you dropped in on a couple of side quest streams, didn't you, Jack? You saw me getting
I did.
frustrated with the fucking Mako in particularly hilly regions.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely understand that. Like, the Mako... driving
There's
the Mako
also just, like, too much loot that does nothing.
Mm.
What, you mean the useless weapons that you just sell off?
Yes, it's a pain.
It definitely is.
Mm.
But I will say, for me, they kind of overcorrected on that.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, that's the awkward thing, isn't it?
But no, but like that's I absolutely get that. Mass Effect 1 very much falls into this odds RPG thing where it's just you have 56 things in your inventory and you have to pick which one has the highest numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I gave it some slack because it's a game from 2001.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of but that's like I
Or
get that.
2007. Why did I say 2001?
I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
a very understandable and true criticism that it's just yeah, you pick whichever has the best numbers and it doesn't really matter.
It's not even just the weapon, it's the fact that you then have 2 fucking upgrade
then
slots,
have
and you have to go all through all the bloody upgrades, and some of them were just genuinely worthless.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, whatchamacallit, the explosive rounds are kind of useless because they just overheat your gun faster, when you can just get the value for the incendiary rounds.
What was the one that we tried and was just it just didn't work?
The signal, the radar, the signal anti-jammer thingy.
That does
Basically,
work,
you know
but-
how to get jam your signals?
Yeah, but it works, but not when you're in the Mako. It only works when you're actually using your weapon.
No, I know.
No, I'm fairly
Didn't
sure
work
we
for
were.
us. Yeah, we were using the weapon that we were outside the Mako on foot, using the weapon that had the anti-jamming equipped, and we still got no radar. It seemed like the level of that attachment that we got was
yeah,
always
that's not
below the level of the enemies.
Damn.
Well, yeah, no, that
think I ever had that
attachment is
problem.
some dumb bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, weapon attachment are kind of useless anyway, because just the base weapon damage of the high-level weapons is what you're actually playing with. And on armor, they're also bullshit, because you're just putting the health regeneration and high-level shields on everything, and that's
Yeah, the health regen. I was gonna say the health regen kind of
yeah.
was noticeable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
and
think
it's-
I don't think I ever played without that, because like it's just too
We
bad.
made the mistake of playing without it for most of the game because we didn't realize it would be so noticeable. We thought it
Yeah.
would be like all the other upgrades and kind of just
Nope.
useless.
That's the only one you really have to use, because like it just saves you so much trouble.
I forget. Did we ever actually give the companions upgrades?
We gave the ones we used upgrades.
I mean, yeah. I mean, the ones we didn't use, I'm not sure if we ever even upgraded their guns.
Yeah, no, we did. We did make sure we did it, but less frequently. Like maybe once every couple of.
Did
streams.
we ever actually upgrade Caden and Ashley's guns?
No, no, I can say that with.
Yeah, I know you guys never use them.
We just like we used Liara to get the on what was it, Novaria?
The one where
Yeah.
we kill her mom.
Yeah,
Yes.
the one with Venezia. And then however long we needed to get the achievement. We used Garrus to get the achievement, and whenever we were doing something that felt like, we could probably, give somebody on the usual party arrest, but otherwise we just used Rex and Tali.
I mean, that's another thing in Mass Effect 1. It doesn't really matter who you bring most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Like-
those.
I've done playthroughs where I've just always brought the full biotic squad, and that's hilarious because enemies don't get to do
Oh yeah,
anything.
Biox and 1 are really fucking broken.
Completely broken, yeah. Just 2 singularities in any room and you've won the fight.
Huh.
Yeah, you didn't realize that because you didn't use Liara all that much.
Yep.
Yeah, but that's because she was, like, uncomfortably horny, and we didn't want to deal with that nonsense.
I suppose that's fair. But yeah, if you played Adept Shepherd, you would have also gotten access to that. Unfortunately, Adept Shepherd isn't really efficient with most of the good guns.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to use good guns, you kind of have to play Soldier, but Soldier is the most boring class to play because
Yeah, it's kind of like
just playing a third-person shooter.
Yeah, it's kind of like the gameplay is like the moment-to-moment gameplay left a lot to be desired.
Which class did you play as?
Yeah, what class did
Vanguard?
you play?
The guy that uses
Vanguard.
Yes.
Yeah, that gets
my favorite.
You're gonna have a lot of fun in the next game, and the game after that.
Good.
But you kind of
Vanguard has a really cool ass skill.
Like Vanguard gets the best fucking skill in the game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But in Mass Effect 1, Vanguard is kind of a slog because like shotguns are terrible and.
I don't know. Like at the higher levels, you kind of just spray and pray with the shotgun, and usually works out pretty well.
Yeah, the things in Mass Effect 1, the biotic and tech classes are much more interesting to play because then you're not just playing a third-person shooter where you sometimes hit a hotkey, because then you actually can play with your abilities, and that's a bit more interesting than just
I'm trying to think because usually I use the pistol and Fuzzy used the sniper. I think we used the shotgun whenever we were facing like husks that would charge at us, and I think we also did it with the... Was it the Thorian? I think it was the Thorian.
Yeah, with the green guys, yeah.
Basically, anything that charged at us, we got the shotgun and just, stood there and shot them. Which generally worked quite well.
Yeah. So one thing that you should know about future games is that your classes do lock in what weapons you can actually use.
Right.
At least in the second game.
That's the thing I really don't like about it.
Well,
but you get a lot more use out of the weapons. Like it's.
So what guns are we locked into using for?
As a Vanguard, I think it's just
shotgun, pistol, and the submachine gun.
And submachine gun, yeah.
Oh wow! So we literally get locked out of the only gun I like.
But
sniper rifle.
But I really like
abilities work completely differently in 2.
So, also at about the midpoint of the game, you will be able to gain access to a gun that you didn't train on.
Yeah.
So you can get sniper rifle about halfway through Mass Effect 2.
That's good at least.
But by that point, you might not want it anymore.
Yeah.
Because again, like
Mass Effect 3. You're much better off with your weapon choices again.
Yeah, but Mass Effect 3 is also kind of weird with how it treats weapons, but we can get into that when we get to Mass Effect.
We can get into that in like a year or two when Fuzzy and I finally finish Mass Effect 3.
Well, so Mass Effect 2 and 3 do have much better gameplay overall than Mass Effect 4.
Yes, they play much more fluidly, like they have much better flow. They're much more kinetic. Also, they are much more kinetic, and they... I mean, the cost of that is that they don't really feel like RPGs anymore. But I think with a game like Mass Effect, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the gameplay of 1 is kind of much slower than it should be.
Yeah.
Is it a similar shift to the one between Dragon Age Origins and 2?
Kind of.
Wouldn't tell you. I haven't played Dragon Age 2.
You should. It's a very good game.
I never finished 1, and I'm not gonna start the second one before I finish the first one. But I will.
Fair enough. I did not know that.
I don't like it. I don't like Dragon Age 1.
Oh dear. That's unfortunate.
It is. But I tried getting into it like 5 times. Didn't work for me.
Yeah, at that point, it's just not worth trying again.
Yeah.
What? I mean, not to distract from the topic at hand, but what was it that you didn't like about it?
Most things. I didn't really like the characters that much. I couldn't get into the gameplay at all. I thought the world was kind of terrible. Like, the only thing I liked about the world is the part everyone else hates, the mages. And yeah, no, I just Dragon Age and me, we won't be friends anytime soon.
But like the gay elf, though.
Yeah, I don't give a shit. He was so uninteresting.
Oof.
I mean,
Anyway.
to be fair, I'm sure people didn't really enjoy that character for the.
Yeah, they didn't care
Interesting
about his
dialogue.
personality, really.
Statistically, Zephyrin is also the least romanced of the 4 romanceable characters in Origins.
Again, I don't know. Dragon Age didn't really work for me. Which
I mean,
which comes with the caveat. I played Mass Effect before that, and as I said before, Mass Effect is probably the game I played the most, so it's one of my favorite video games ever. And what I wanted Dragon Age to be was fantasy that, and it's not that. So we got off on the wrong foot, and that just hurt my experience with it to this day, basically.
I mean, I'd give
Fair.
2 a try just because it is so much different from Origins,
Yeah, I mean,
both in terms of the
probably should.
gameplay and.
I have 2 and 3 both because both of them were free somewhere at some point. So I could just play them, but I kind of.
I mean, I wouldn't recommend Inquisition. It's honestly the worst of the 3.
I like
It's also the
Inquisition.
only one I've played.
I bet I will love it.
I legitimately like Inquisition. I feel like you and Kaido are just way too harsh on it now.
I literally haven't been able to replay it as a thing because the start is so boring.
I don't really replay most games just because I have a bunch of others. I'm much more geared into trying new things and getting those off my backlog, but
I mean, when I say it's the worst of the 3, that's, relative to the other 2, which I massively enjoyed, but I still don't think it's an incredible game.
I mean, the thing about Dragon Age Inquisition is that it's, in many ways, a single-player MMO.
Yeah. I mean, story-wise, Inquisition is really good. I enjoyed the story of Inquisition, but the gameplay is just not good, especially compared to 2.
Okay, I can understand that argument. That makes sense to me. I totally get that. Regardless,
We are off topic.
are off topic.
It wasn't me this time.
No, I fully admit that I took the reins on that one.
But back to the gameplay on this one. Like, I feel like part of the issue is with the gameplay is that it is very much like the hybrid of the weakest parts of RPG games and third-person shooter games. In terms of the overarching gameplay and combat missions.
Yeah, I mean,
Does that feel like an accurate description?
It's essentially the combat system from Knights of the Old Republic in a setting that really doesn't support that, because that kind of combat system dies the second everyone has a gun, and in Mass Effect everyone has a gun. And the second that happens, you kind of need very fast and kinetic combat, and Mass Effect 1 does not have that.
I think what doesn't help is certainly if you're using controller. I mean, I know Fuzzy used keyboard and didn't sort of have the same issues, but I very rarely actually used any of the talents. Hello, Biscuit.
Oh, hi.
Time for Biscuit's dinner that she will be eating now. Sorry about that. But I think I actually have something of a counterpoint to that, Laura. I feel like the combat was plenty kinetic, just not for the player. It did feel legitimately like the AI just had a lot more options in combat than I did. Like,
I mean, if you didn't use Liara a lot, then yeah, kind of. Because
I do appreciate that
most of the options are the tech and biotic skills. So
I mean, it doesn't help that like it's kind of a pain to use abilities in Mass Effect 1.
Yeah.
Whether you're on controller or keyboard, because like there's no proper hotkey mapping. There's like
there is. You can absolutely map.
Well, there is hotkey mapping. It's just like it's a pain to do like on the fly.
Yeah, it gets a lot more. It gets a lot better.
That too definitely gets better, but
basically what I'm saying is that any game that came out after World of Warcraft came out really needs to have like a proper hotbar system put in place that's like intuitive to use.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot, what was I gonna say?
I mean, I saw someone play Mass Effect 1 with a controller, and I saw that you don't have any quick access at all, at least.
No, you do not. And
Yeah,
that's,
and
that's part of the
and
why I
that,
switched.
That's terrible.
and that is why I very
Like,
rarely use abilities.
If you use mouse and keyboard, you can absolutely map your skills to, I think, 1 to 8. For some reason, there's no 9. Just
Well, you can try. It's just that at no point is there a UI tutorial for it, and I couldn't figure it out throughout the entirety of the game.
basically, I think there's like a tiny text box at the on the first planet. And
Well, we were playing controller on the first planet, so maybe that's why that didn't show up.
very, very likely. And that I can absolutely see that messing with your enjoyment of the game, because the already kind of slow combat doesn't get faster if you don't use half your arsenal. So that's
Right? It definitely, a lot of the game did feel like it was just a third-person shooter that had like a few ability buttons on long cooldowns. Like the ability cooldowns, I get that they're supposed to be powerful, but they're too long to be used fluidly.
Yeah.
And you can't really set up a rotation for abilities, which is kind of how a game with ability-based combat lives and breathes.
Yeah, that's what I mean by the combat doesn't really feel kinetic.
Yeah, like you will spend, even if you map all of them to hotkeys, there is a considerable amount of downtime in which it's just it's just a third-person shooter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like one of the worst fights is. For me, it's usually Therum, but it doesn't matter. You can do the planets in any order. The first time you're on foot, when you have to fight one of the big Geth robots.
The Colossus, right?
Yeah, the Colossus. Like, the second and third time are okay, because by that time usually you have a party that can just do a bit more. But the first one usually sucks, because all you do is just stand or kneel in whatever guard you have, throw one ability, shoot at it a few times, and wait for your shields to regenerate and your cooldowns to go down. Like, that's just that's definitely an issue.
That's just bad game design at that point.
I mean, as I said, it's definitely an issue Mass Effect 1 has, that the combat never really feels good, and even to get to a point where it feels serviceable, you kind of need to get into it a bit. And you can do that with a game like Knights of the Old Republic, because
it's got melee combat.
Exactly, it just feels completely different. Yeah. And yeah, you can't really do that in Mass Effect. So that's definitely one of the big weak points of Mass Effect 1.
Oh, also, the lack of really any easily accessible AoE was really annoying in some parts of the game. I know that's probably fixed by some abilities and like control tools and stuff, but at the same time, grenades do nothing.
Yeah, no, I never used
one of the
grenades.
AoE things that you had access to that you didn't use was Singularity.
We use Singularity pretty frequently. It's just like, also, aiming is impossible on a controller and pretty freaking clunky on a keyboard and mouse.
I was fine aiming.
An Xbox release.
I was fine aiming.
No, I mean the abilities, not the.
Oh,
you didn't
the abilities.
Use the abilities. Yeah, no, I mean the abilities.
I just didn't bother. Again, that's
one makes no sense.
I assume, I'm fairly sure that's something they improved on in Origins, which was more along the lines of what I was expecting. Is if you do bring up that strategy menu, it allows you to move it around so you can target the abilities. No, you don't get that chance really.
Yeah, and even if you do, like the ability targeting is really bad in Mass Effect 1. Even having played the game as much as I have, I still constantly misfire abilities and just throw them at walls because I happened to look slightly too far to the left or something.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you can be looking at an enemy dead on and the ability just decides that it'll lock onto a wall.
Yep, that's definitely... Yeah, the combat is probably the weakest aspect of Mass Effect 1.
Oh, I have no question about
I feel
that.
like the problem with Mass Effect is that like it's a game where the gameplay is not really what you want.
Yeah, I mean, but to be completely fair, that has always been up to that point, and probably up to today. I don't know. I haven't played Anthem. That's to an extent that has always been what BioWare has sold. Like even back in the Baldur's Gate days, it's just kind of here's serviceable gameplay to tuck our story onto. That's just what it's always been.
Here's another disappointment. We don't get an L-Core companion.
Can we just put the L-Core in charge?
So with the L-Core, it would be kind of hard to incorporate them into actual gameplay.
I think it took until Mass Effect 3 to actually get a moving L-Core model, like one that actually walks.
Yeah, because I'm just like, they're basically like tiny organic AT-ATs. Just like mount some cannons on them and you're good.
That is actually how they fight. They have shoulder-mounted like machine gun cannons.
Exactly. Why don't you just ride them into battle, consensually, of course.
Unfortunately, they are very slow. That is why they have the cannons.
Yeah.
It is shoulder-mounted artillery.
Battle, they are all busy performing Hamlet.
I would love to see a fully acted out L-Core production of so many.
I do just want to see it. I just want to see an L-Core like play. Just them.
I want to see an L-Core TV channel. Just like make a TV channel where it's all L-Cores. Just remake everything with L-Core.
Even when I played it for the first time, I just love that that's basically also their tribute to HK-47 from Knights of the Old Republic. Because they do the same thing where they always basically state what they're about to say. That was an HK-47 thing in first Knights.
I will say, to its credit, the fact that it has 2 non-humanoid sapient species as part of the world in 2007 is really something you did not see very often back in the day, except in some of the more niche literature.
Yeah. I mean, when Mass Effect came out, the fact that humans were kind of not the outstanding mega race that was super important and the best race of all, but that humans were kind of the shitty newcomers nobody liked was kind of subversive.
Yeah, but at the same time, there was a decent amount of human exceptionalism where all the other races were scared by the fact that humans, got up to speed so quickly. It's like, I didn't like that so much.
I mean, yeah, it's still there, of course, but if you look at, contemporary sci-fi or fantasy things, always humans and, elves get a town, dwarves get a mountain. These aliens get one planet, and humans get a whole galaxy, and that was kind of a thing back when the first Mass Effect came out that was special about it.
Another thing to keep in mind is that, despite several of the races being vaguely humanoid, the only one that even comes close to physically resembling humans in the first game is the Asari. Everything else is,
or the Quarians.
The Quarians. Well, no, they also have,
They have bird feet.
They have different joint structures than we do on their lower bodies, and they also have only 3 fingers on their hands.
Yeah, but that's never stopped the horniness of the internet.
I mean, nothing ever stops the horniness of the internet, but
that's kind of missing the point, though. In that...
Oh, you know there was actually one thing that surprised me about Mass Effect 1 a little bit. The distinct lack of hybrids.
Yeah, because they're impossible except for through the Asari.
And the Asari hybrids aren't hybrids; they are just Asari.
Yeah, but that's the thing though, is that they have magic space wizards, but they can't figure out how figure out interspecies hybrids.
Because it's impossible. Because of how different.
There's nothing to figure out. They're just They don't have human dog hybrids either. It's just they're different.
It's a very hard science for compared to most of those sci-fis.
Yeah.
I mean, hello. Welcome, scrunched up Darth Maul.
Yes. I apologize for being so late. I wanted to take a 20-minute nap and it turned into 3 hours.
As I said in the chat, literally happened to me today.
We were talking about, indirectly we were coming back around to the first topic of the stream, which was why this game gotta be so horny.
Yes, you can literally bang, I think, like, what, over half of your crewmates you have the option to, like, try to hook up with.
Exactly half of your companions are bangable in the game,
Yes.
depending on your
However,
character.
to the credit of the makers of Mass Effect, you really kind of have to choose one. Unless you're trying to sleep with Shaira too, in which case you can maybe get 2.
But I mean, that doesn't
But still.
count.
Yeah, that doesn't really count as a romance. That's more just whatever.
It literally doesn't. You don't get the little badge for that. Back then, they were achievements, but
Yeah, fortunately or unfortunately, you cannot scoot around in this game. You do have to pick a romance option and stick with them if you want to get the.
That's
the
actually
bang
one
at
of
the end.
one of the funnier things is when if you don't pick early, there's dialogue between either Ashley and Liara and Shepard or Caden and Liara and Shepard, where basically the human goes, well, you kind of have to make a choice here, and the renegade option is, why do I have to make a choice? But then the human just leaves and you end up with Liara anyway.
Yeah. You can't be they keep you from doing that.
Nope.
They ain't into poly stuff, unfortunately.
No.
So, but what we were talking about specifically was they have, like, magical space wizards, and they haven't figured out how to make hybrids yet. And, like, the reason I bring this up is because hybrid science is difficult, but it's also one of the more studied ones, and it's, like, disturbingly possible and viable to do so.
Let's come at this from an in-universe angle. Yeah. Let's come at this from an in-universe angle. Asari hybrids don't matter. Asari can procreate with anyone anyway. It's just going to be new Asari. So, no one going to put money to that. Solarian hybrid, bullshit.
Something...
Solarians get like 35 to 40 years old, so no one wants to shorten their lifespan like that.
No, but here's the thing.
Not going to happen. Turian
like...
hybrids, nope. Nobody wants to get into the Turian hierarchy, because when you're born a Turian, you're basically told what you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Also with Turians, like, they have different
Turians
amino acid structures.
Yeah, also, if you drink the milk meant for a Turian, you're gonna die, so...
Yeah, and that's the thing, too, is, like, not every species in Mass Effect is entirely compatible with all the other species.
Well,
literally biologically incompatible.
Yeah, exactly.
So, here's the thing. This is one of those things where people ask if you can, not if you should. But there's really, like, with after a certain point, there's really no such thing as biologically incompatible. If you try hard enough.
Yeah, but Turians work on different amino acids. Like,
Ozzy, you're starting to channel your inner Hammonds.
Who?
John Hammond, Jurassic Park.
Look.
Yeah.
I still maintain that the idea was sound. His mistake was making it a theme park instead of a meat farm.
Do you want people to have dinosaur burgers?
I mean, they're just basically giant chickens.
I mean, his big
They
mistake.
would sell like hotcakes.
His big mistake was shortchanging Nedry. And then
Okay, yes, but
then
like,
sticking the entire like computer network on him.
Yeah, that's kind of just like that's more of a consequence of capitalism in the late '90s, early 2000s.
That track.
Sometimes you just gotta like try, even if you create horrible abominations.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Do we have that on the schedule?
They probably tried, and probably people died there.
Well, I mean, but like, you brought up an interesting point with the Solarians, right? Like, what if you were able, hybrids, you were able to give them the traits of a Solarian without the shortened lifespan. Like, give them the lifespan of a different species. Things like that. I'm sure.
And like a
Also,
Turian,
just
that'd be
saying-
more realistic.
Just saying, politically, Solarians are highly paranoid, so they probably just don't want to get into that business at all.
No, but like the thing is, the Solarians are the ones most likely to fund the experiments in the first place.
That's true.
That is totally their bag.
That is entirely
They are
true.
very much into genetics and shit like that.
Yeah,
That's
so
true. If anyone started making hybrids, it would probably be Solarians.
and like they have a pretty convenient
give you
reason to, don't they? Like, right? They live like 40 years max. I'm sure there's plenty.
Unfortunately, you guys have yet to meet the very model of a scientist Solarian.
Yes, the best Solarian.
I love his
There ever
periodic table song.
Is, was, and will be.
Yes. You're
I
gonna
don't know.
love
I find it.
Eric
I
when
like.
you-
I find it kind of hard to get attached to a Solarian because they die very quickly.
Don't
But it's
badmouth
like having
my
a dog,
alien
though.
lizard
Like,
grandpa.
they have similar lifespans to a dog, like twice as long as a dog, but still.
Well, no, it's more.
I'm
similar,
not
it's
looking-
twice of that of a cat.
I mean, I'm not looking to get into a romantic relationship with a dog either.
Well, hey, some people are into that shit, so.
What I said
Very weird.
attachment. I didn't. Also, Dylan, why?
Yes.
Why? Why would you bring that up? But also, yeah, I'm like, it is totally in character for the Solarians to do some horrifying hybridization experiments.
It would also be totally in character for them to not tell anyone about it.
Yes, that's why I'm like,
Thing.
I can believe that they would do that. Also, you were actually there's one thing I wanted to bring up relative to the in-universe scope of things that we were talking about before the stream. Mass Effect covers one galaxy and the space around it, more or less.
I mean, it basically covers like half a galaxy.
Right?
The first one does, yeah. You end up getting more of the galaxy in
Yeah,
later
but
games.
the first
but
one,
it's-
the first one is very much, yeah,
But I'm
Just
talking the
sit it
series as a
outside.
whole, like on a meta perspective.
yeah.
The farthest they go is the closest galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, which in a game that a lot of people don't like to talk about.
And Andromeda is
Yeah.
completely like Andromeda is basically not related to what you're currently playing. So
Yeah, and so
Yeah, isn't the story of Andromeda that they like left the galaxy before the events of even Mass Effect 1?
I think they left after Mass Effect 1 because
Yeah,
they left.
before 2 and 3.
Yeah, they left as a response to the reveal of the Reapers. I think is the.
Oh, so it was
I
the
haven't
people that
read-
actually listened to Shepard. That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
Was
That's basically the hook for the Andromeda Initiative is if Shepard's right then.
So the thing is that, to my knowledge, the Andromeda Initiative was planned for a while. It just got
Yeah.
accelerated because of the events of Mass Effect 1.
okay.
Yes.
Do you know what the worst part is, though, about well, human nature in general? So, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's twins in that game, right? The player characters.
Yes. Yes.
There is, in fact, a robust library of mods that make your twin romanceable in that game.
God
I am not
fucking
surprised.
damn it.
Ah! I was browsing Nexus mods and I was like, okay, someone is really passionate about twincest.
I mean, does that really surprise you? That
It doesn't surprise me. I'm just like, well, no. The fact that it's there doesn't surprise me. But like, someone put like the effort in. Apparently, it's very well developed.
I mean, if you're gonna do it,
Why?
But like, also, no. My bigger point is, do y'all have any idea of the sheer mind-boggling scale of the universe?
Oh, yeah,
Like,
no.
One, maybe two
Yeah.
galaxies max is nothing.
no.
To be fair, like, couple things. The science, the quote-unquote, the science established in the series would make traveling farther than the Andromeda Galaxy extremely difficult to justify. Like, just
I mean,
because of
The trip
scope
through the
and
Andromeda
scale
Galaxy
of
is
the-
already basically impossible. Like it's a
Yeah.
Didn't it need a generation ship?
yes.
They
Wasn't
needed
it
a
intended to be a
generation
generation ship?
Yeah, it was a 600-year journey. And that was
They
using
basically
FTL
had to-
travel.
Figure out cryogenics.
Mm-hmm. They had to
Oh,
figure
so-
out advanced cryogenics, and
Oh,
they
so-
had to have, like, a bunch of Krogan manning the ships, too. at periodic intervals, because like
Because
the
they get
Krogan are
older.
one of only 2 species that have a lifespan long enough to let them be alive for that whole journey.
Oh! Huh.
You know
know
what?
what?
That makes me
Over
think
1,000
about
years.
something.
Rex is over 1,000 years old.
Yeah.
That makes me think about something though. What if, like, evolutionarily, the reason that some of these species live so long is so that they can be spacefaring species, so that they can
Well,
like
it's
do.
less likely with the Krogan because like they hadn't been uplifted, so they kind of just evolved that on their own.
Well, no, like
No,
they'll be evolved
they
to
already
be
had that
spacefaring
lifespan.
naturally, but
Yeah.
like it could be that, and like they were entering their space age when all this shit happened. Basically, at the same point that maybe our society would be in a century or two, probably about that level before they nuked themselves to hell.
Yeah.
So maybe they could have maybe they just had a
I
natural.
mean, we
knack
are
for
getting
it,
into
maybe.
later games, but
Yes.
yeah,
Well, Andromeda is kind of an
Yeah.
interesting case because it's unrelated, right? But
yeah.
so what you're saying is Andromeda takes place like hundreds of years after all of the main series games have been long
Functionally,
done.
yes.
Seems that way.
Huh, that's kind of very interesting. Look, basically, I'm doing that thing again where I care less about the games and more about the lore, and I'm kind of just like, but what if we got more lore for this?
For real though, like they
You
could
do
make
get
an
more lore
entire
in the second and
universe.
third
Like if
game.
Andromeda went better, they could have made like an entire universe about shit like this.
I am
Yeah.
entirely convinced they had plans for a sequel for Andromeda, where you would have gotten a Quarian ship.
Oh, that was actually planned for DLC content, but the game's
And-
poor performance convinced them not to do that.
And
just
they
released it as a novel.
probably would have put Tally on that Quarian ship. Would have just been
Ooh.
I
like,
don't know about that.
no, they could have done that.
What's their lifespan?
Doesn't matter. They have cryogenics figured out. They would have just said they started 3 years after Mass Effect ended. Whatever.
I mean, Quarians, I believe, have a similar lifespan to Turians and humans.
Yeah, I think so too.
Not- Yeah, I don't know if it's quite the same, but it's similar.
Yeah.
You basically have 3 lifespan groups in the Mass Effect series. You have
No,
the
but-
really long-lived ones in the Asari and Krogan.
And Krogans,
you have the average
normal
lifespan,
ones. Yeah. And you have
who have
Salarian.
low 3-digit lifespans, like humans, Turians, Quarians. And then you have the very short lifespan ones, like the Solarians and the Borgia, who you have not met
Yeah.
yet, I don't think.
Now here's the real question: how long do Elcor and Hanar live?
I don't know if we have an answer for that.
We don't.
'Cause, like, I feel
I-
like Hanar are at least partially energy beings, so I have to feel like they'd age super slowly.
I'd assume
And they're
not.
jellyfish, which are
So
also
the jellyfish
kind of
thing,
immortal.
which basically don't age until they just die.
Oh yeah, so it's
And-
possible that the Hanar are biologically immortal.
Possible.
And
But,
Elcor,
like,
I
this-
mean, again, I can only speculate, but given that for Elcor everything is relatively slow, I would assume they have a very slow, like they age very slowly as well.
Elcor
But I
can
don't-
live for centuries, although not to the same extent as Asari or Krogan. 100 years or so is considered young by Elcor standards, while 400 years, give or take, is considered old and grandfatherly.
Yeah, so Elcor are basically Galapagos turtles.
Seems that way.
They are slow and they get old.
And also they have shoulder-mounted machine guns.
As
Yep.
do turtles. I definitely had that action figure.
We've all played Pokemon.
Blastoise. It's Blastoise.
Yes,
Yeah.
we've all. But yeah, basically what I'm trying to say is there is a lot you can do with the Mass Effect universe outside of the Milky Way galaxy. They're just too cowardly to do it.
I don't
It's
think
not
there's
just
that
that,
much
just
you can
that
do because they are very. I mean, as Jack said, they are very much in-universe reason for why no one has really left Milky Way.
No, that's what I meant by they're too cowardly. Is you have a completely unrelated series to like no humans involved or anything. Just like
I mean, yeah, you could do
Difficult
that.
to market,
You could-
though.
It is difficult to market, and that's like what is really upsetting to me on a more meta level. Is that
I mean, here's the thing. Look at how many Star Wars games there are, and look at how many of them let you pick non-human protagonists. And Star Wars is heaps easier to market than Mass Effect.
yeah, but like that's kind of the point I'm trying to make. Is like
Yeah.
outside of like the more niche parts of the fantasy and sci-fi genres, it's like I'm kind of tired of having to relate everything to humanity. Can we just like have a work of fiction that has completely non-human protagonists. I understand why, right? It's like a massive challenge to write, but I think it's just... It would be really nice, as like I'm speaking as a writer, it's a very interesting challenge to take on.
But I think that's kind of the big problem. On one hand, you need it to be somehow relatable, because if it's not, no one will care
But
about
that's
your
the thing,
story.
isn't it? Is like, in the same way that, like, with material science, there's only a finite number of, chemical compositions that, like, make sense.
Yeah.
There's also, like, a kind of a finite number of species compositions that make sense, and, like...
Yeah, but at that point, then you're just doing a lot of work to essentially just tell a story about... Like, then you're doing the Star Trek thing. You're slapping some rubber foreheads on someone and say, that's not a human. They
Well,
just
that's the
happen
thing,
to
is,
go
like, there's a middle
through the
ground
same
there.
struggles humans go through.
Well, yeah, that's why I'm saying there is a middle ground there. I feel like there's a lot... Because, like, a lot of series do very good depictions of alien races that are somewhat relatable, but still have some very blue and orange alien aspects to them.
I mean, there is the middle ground there, but I think it's just...
You know, like the Twi'leks. Just humans with tentacles instead of hair.
At some point you get into just an efficiency problem. If you write a 300-page book and half of that book is about how this species is not human and the other half is about their very human struggles, then you're kind of better off just using the other half of the book to also write about their actual story than about the world building. Like, that's
but the thing is, I don't want to read a book. I want to read an encyclopedia.
Well,
And I think that's
feel
my
like
problem.
I think you are a very niche audience in and of yourself.
Yeah, I kind of like. I want to read the encyclopedia of fictional species.
you should just play D&D and build your own world, and then you can go crazy with that shit.
I'm a writer. I already do that. I don't need to play a game. I kind of just... I do that even when I don't want to. But it's like, it's still like, I'd like to consume... It comes down to the problem, right? Like, when you want this niche thing, and that niche doesn't exist, you kind of just have to go and either make it... You kind of have to go make it on your own, and I'm just like, could I just not make it on my own for once?
Sorry, no can do, sir.
Apparently not.
This is
But
why
anyways,
I wish we
back
had,
to this
like...
topic.
Okay, yes, good. I mean, we're kind of on topic, vaguely.
Kind of. I do like that there is in-universe media for the series that, and a large chunk of it is not human-made.
Yeah.
Because it does show like a culture outside of humanity, and a lot of it is definitely really well thought out.
Okay,
Holy
I have
shit,
a question that I don't know if is addressed.
Does Blasto exist in Mass Effect 1, or is Blasto a Mass Effect 2 thing?
Blasto's Mass Effect 2.
Oh, goddammit.
Oh, I remember Blasto.
The best.
My
Blasto
hero.
is the fucking best, yeah.
So I have a question. At any point in the series, do we like see female Turian and Krogan?
We do. We
Yes.
And
I
how?
think both
What's
first
the
show up
sexual
in-
dimorphism like there?
They are very similar.
Yes.
There's not
That's
a
actually
lot
one
of
of the-
strong dimorphism.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the interesting things I see a lot is a lot of writers go either the sexual dimorphism is entirely like humans in that they just slap some boobs on them, or there's no sexual dimorphism, and like...
Oh, like, there is definite sexual dimorphism in Mass Effect, but for
It's just not
basically
that-
all species except humans, it's not as pronounced as it is with humans.
Correct.
And I'm just like, that's kind of like, I feel like there's, on a writing level, a way around that. Like, you could just have, like, one of them be really much larger. Or
I mean,
it's just, it's like, there's non-human ways of doing sexual dimorphism that I wish more,
Which
writers
brings
would
me
do.
back to
I see
what
exactly
I
what
said
you
earlier.
mean. Like, if there's like a, what's a good one? Like, I mean, it depends. I mean, there's a lot of species where there really isn't much of that dimorphism.
well, yeah, but like,
I mean,
Like a
but
lot of animal species where like females and males look more or less the same. So it can kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's in the spirit of that.
Humans are
it
actually
also-
kind of at the midpoint of the sexual dimorphism scale.
Yeah. I mean, it also just harkens back to what I said earlier, that Mass Effect is not really sci-fi. It's more kind of like 50s to 80s space opera. And
fantasy. It's like sci-fi fantasy mix.
Yeah.
That's
It's
like
if
a lot of
Brandon
sci-fi.
Sanderson wrote. It's like if Brandon Sanderson wrote a sci-fi series, basically.
Which is still
I
awesome.
mean, he's kind of already doing that in like 6 different ways.
True, but at the same time, like, it definitely follows the hard science law a lot closer to like the hard magic stuff than it would be like the soft sci-fi of, say, Star Wars.
Star Wars
You know what I mean?
I mean, Star Trek is also pretty soft sci-fi. They were just oddly prophetic in a lot of things.
I mean, Star
And
Trek
flip phones and touchscreen tablets.
Sci-fi. Like, Star Trek cares about the sci part of sci-fi, and Star Wars really doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Star Wars is kind of like a science fantasy almost.
Star Wars is fantasy.
That's what I was going to say.
Star Wars is a fantasy series about wizards swinging magical swords. That's literally all it is.
It just happens to be set in space.
It just happens to be. You could set it on just a single planet and lower the scale a little bit, and it would not be any different.
No, Star Wars is fantasy, definitely.
Quick question: where does Dune fall on that scale?
Dune is super hard sci-fi. Like,
okay, so Dune is hard in some ways and soft in other ways, much like
Dune
the
is
series.
So cool.
Dune is super hard sci-fi. Dune is just so hard.
Had a weird baby.
Yeah, Dune is just so hard sci-fi that it's basically like it's so far removed from today. Like, you have to remember, Dune takes place in the year 10,000, but that's not 8,000 years from now. It's 10,000 years since the Empire was founded.
Right.
Kind of like Warhammer 40k to a certain extent.
Yeah, true.
Warhammer
It's just
40k
so far removed
took
from
everything from Dune. Like,
Dune.
the complete Space Marine Human Empire shit from Warhammer 40k is Dune. That's where they stole it from.
I mean, yes, but like at this point, 40k has total war games, and Dune doesn't.
I'm not making a value judgment. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I'm not making a value judgment either. I'm just talking about the relative like known, like people know. I feel like a lot more people know 40k to a decent extent more so than Dune.
I mean, probably. I honestly don't know.
Maybe at this point, yeah.
But what I'm saying is, Dune is super hard sci-fi. It's just that the adaptations are usually not really able to capture that, and then they do some weird magic-y stuff that isn't really based on the books, or it's based on the books but isn't really in the books. And also, again, like, Dune is so far removed from today that it's just not.
Yeah.
And
So
to be
far
fair,
in the
my first
future.
experience with Dune was the RTS on the Sega Genesis.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, I read the book. That was my first exposure to
I
it.
am still in the process of reading the book.
I haven't touched any of it.
I love it, but it's challenging.
And so,
yeah,
like,
that's
I
kind
thought-
of the barrier to entry is pretty high for Dune.
I mean, the thing is, someone once said, I think it was Matt Colville, I'm not sure, once said, like, it makes no sense that Dune is popular. And
Yeah,
he
the first
said,
half of the book is literally just politics to the
Yeah.
umpteenth
I mean,
degree, and it's
the entire
anyway,
story
we're
of
on
Dune is
Mass Effect, aren't we?
basically politics. And
See,
he
here's
said
the
it
thing.
makes no sense to the same extent that Lord of the Rings being popular makes no sense, but I disagree with that, because with Lord of the Rings, you have to go and search all the deep, meaningful stuff, because the actual story of Lord of the Rings is super simple. But the actual story of Dune is super fucking complex, and also the universe is super fucking
So
complex.
this
and
is
it's
why
just-
I just like go on wiki dives. I don't want to read any of that. I just want the lore.
well, that's what the books are. The books are basically just
Yeah.
all lore.
the books
love it.
are the
You
lore.
should try it
That's
out.
the thing.
Yeah, but I want like lore without perspectives or character. Like I want to read textbooks, okay? I really want to read textbooks.
Anyways,
try it
getting
out.
back to
Some of it
Mass
is.
Effect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Getting back to
that
Mass
is what this stream is about, right?
it's supposedly about, yeah.
What part of the game were you guys on talking about? I
We
don't
haven't
think
really
even
been
got-
talking about any particular parts of the game. We've all been talking generally at this
So
point.
what? So let's go into specifics then. What
like
of the
specific
main
missions.
Story missions of the main story missions. Which ones did you like versus not like?
So out of what we're talking, Therum, Novaria, Feros, Thermite, Bring Down the Sky.
Bring Down the Sky plus what's it? Ilos.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, any mission that stuck with you for being good or bad, even if they are just side quests, I don't really care. Like,
Yeah.
I've
mean,
played all of them multiple
if we're
times.
talking about like,
I mean,
things
let's
that are
be
just,
honest. The side missions were fairly uniformly go to this place,
Yes.
go in this place, shoot some people, maybe a bit of dialogue, then leave.
But even then, some are better than others. I mean, I agree, but some are better than others.
I mean, I
I'm
do
kinda
remember.
just like-
I do remember the one with the crazy lady where she attacks if you try and turn off the life
Oh
support.
yeah, that was
Yeah,
that
that's
was
a good
fucking
one.
crazy. That was terrifying.
Okay, so here's one thing that stuck with me: the whole sequence of bringing Liara along to murder her mom horribly. That was fun.
Wow.
And like, why?
Also, just
why?
sorry to interrupt, but like, the way Benezia dies is fucking horrible because
Yeah, it's
she basically
horrifying.
It's a bitch and a
wakes
half.
up from her conditioning, and it's like, and she says they always said there was gonna be a light, and then she just dies. Like, that's so fucking cruel.
Yeah,
Well,
it's
yeah.
kind of fucked up.
The
Yes!
commission didn't release her until like she was about to die.
Yeah.
Like, and
And
that's
then-
like the only way to like truly get rid of it.
And then
Fucked up.
the second before she dies, she realizes that she won't even have comfort in death, that she will just be dead. Like,
Yeah,
that's so
like-
We
fucking
actually
cruel.
don't know- Well, we don't necessarily know that. Like, games like this tend to not go into the afterlife until they really wanna.
No, but
What-
Weren't her
then-
dying
then-
words something like,
This is
"Oh, there's no
this is
light. I
shorthand.
thought there would be
Yeah.
a light."
yeah,
Yeah.
that's shorthand for she's not dying well. She's horrified of dying because there's no warm light. She's just gonna be alone and dead.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
So
But sorry, I was interrupting you. I just wanted to say, like, that's a line that always
well,
stuck
you
with
were
me.
you were
Because it's
interrupting me to say something much more meaningful. I was gonna say, why she gotta have a boob window though?
Because she's hot, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Not
I
that
said
it's
this
just
about
funny.
Ketchy, and I'll
Listen,
say
man,
this.
you gotta sell your game to that mommy demographic.
I said this about Ketchy, and I'll say this about Benezia. The fact that she's trying to kill us really takes away from the hotness.
For some
For you,
people,
maybe.
that's
For a
the
lot of
opposite
people, that
effect.
just makes it a lot better.
Yeah, certainly.
Do you not remember the hype around Dimitrescu from whatever the fuck that game is?
Dimitrescu from
Dimitrescu.
Resident Evil 8, yeah. 8, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, 8. It's 8.
Yeah.
And
I
what's funny is she's
person-
not
I-
even in the game for that much. She's
No,
like,
she's literally in it for like the first
One
couple
scene.
of hours.
And yeah,
no, I
so
didn't-
much party around her.
No, I didn't
real.
really get the. Well, I understood it. I don't agree with it. The whole thing about around Dimitrescu.
But
Fair point.
Dimitrescu.
getting back to Mass Effect, I don't know if you played it. Like, I don't know which side missions you did and which you didn't.
We
do.
did as many as we could, basically. I'm
good.
not
I
sure if we
played the
missed
entire
any.
game 3 or 4 times. So
I mean,
beat
if
the
we-
entire game like 6 or 7
Yeah.
times. Like, I've said it before. It's the video game I played the most.
I mean, Ashley and Caden don't have companion quests, do they?
No.
Not really,
The only
no.
ones with like actual strong companion quests are Rex, Garrus, and Liara.
Yeah.
Tully has a kind of sort of one, but it's not really like dedicated in the way the other 3 are.
Well, we,
I was
we
gonna-
did all the
but
companion
that's actually
quests. Then.
but that's actually the mission I was going to talk about because I always liked that because like the actual mission is kind of uninteresting. You just fly to 5 planets and kill a few Geth. But when you do the final one, you get this stupid tiny text pop up that just says like, as you kill the last Geth, a Quarian morning song plays or something, and like that's a good touch. I
yeah,
like
it's neat.
so
It does
I,
do a lot to help world build the
no,
cast
but like
just a little bit more.
just before we talk about that, like I don't know if you noticed this, but of the non-generic models in the game, I'm pretty sure Benezia was the one who showed the most skin. I'm just like, why?
Ah,
I honestly
because evil
Couldn't tell
lady
you.
has to dress skanky for
probably
whatever
because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, you believe
here's-
it's got to be skanky.
Here's another thing.
Yeah.
I'm fairly sure this happened once, and it actually happened off screen while I was trying to complete some. I was trying to complete the collection side quests because they were very frustrating.
Yeah,
Um,
that suck.
Came across this. I think it was some sort of Prothean monument where we just get to see like a flash of some Protheans' life.
Yes, that's
And it was just
amazing.
very weird because that was the only time it ever happened, and it never really
Yep,
came up
that,
again.
That only happens on that one planet. Like, that can only happen
Are
there.
you talking about the Caveman Flashback?
I think
Yes.
so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, it's
Like,
fucking
that's
That
wild.
was
such-
fun.
funny little detail, yeah. I love that.
It was just weird.
Uh,
Like I just happened to walk up to it and press it. It was like, okay, this is happening. Okay.
Here, have this book. Yeah, I mean, it's basically an alien abduction of a caveman.
Yep.
It's great. Of course, the big one is the prestige class mission where you go to the moon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That one's
The
nice.
Luna VI one.
Yeah,
Fun
That one's
fact.
a fun one.
that's one to keep
fun
in mind,
fact that
definitely.
we'll have to talk about if we talk about Mass Effect 2, but there's
I mean,
a fun
we
fact
will-
about that.
We will get into later games. One of my favorite fun facts is when you finish the mission, you get a string of binary, and that translates to something like "Help me, I'm scared" or some shit like that. It's amazing. Again, which
It's
knowing where
terrifying.
this is going, I mean, it's an AI that just became sentient, you know.
Dark.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like Mass Effect is full of these tiny little details that are kind of fucked up if you think about them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Was also just going back to general stuff. Wasn't a massive fan of the like dialogue system.
I
yeah,
personally I
that-
love
that-
it. Like, it's,
I enjoy it.
but
I enjoy
get
it.
it.
Like it
does-
felt like what we were picking was not actually what was being said.
Yeah, that does get a bit better. Also, you'll get a cool new thing in Mass Effect 2 called
Yeah.
interrupts that are really fun.
I'm also, I mean, this is just a general Bioware thing, but I'm always, upset that there's never a dedicated snark option.
I think Andromeda does that.
I think it does that too, but Andromeda kind of does away with the whole
Yeah. I mean, here's the
whole
thing.
alignment system.
I get not liking the dialogue system in Mass Effect, but my counter argument is what it allowed them to do, because like up until then, usually what you do in a role playing game of that type was you just wouldn't have voiced lines for the protagonist.
Yeah, that
Because
was the part I
you would
liked the
just-
most.
You just
I mean,
have
hell,
I click on that, and then the game suggests I said that, and someone reacts to that. And they didn't want that. They wanted Shepard to speak all the time because they wanted Shepard to be a character, and not just like they don't want the player to be Shepard. They want the player to have their own Shepard. Like that's a big
No, and
distinction.
I would
And
say
that's-
that is something that Mass Effect succeeds at. It very much felt like Shepard was
Absolutely.
a proper character.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and that's where it's very important to have the lines voiced. And I think, like, if you keep that in mind, it makes sense to have the dialogue system be the way it works. I mean, sure, they could just write the whole line out and you pick it and then you get it voiced, but I think that would have a different impact than if you just say, I kind of want to say this, but it's not my choice. It's Shepard's choice.
Yeah.
It's like what you're picking is the gist of what he's saying, more or
Yeah.
less.
I mean, I would still say there was a couple occasions where we didn't even get that. It
True.
felt like
Yeah,
it felt like a
sometimes it's
completely
true.
different message than the one we were trying to pick.
There certainly are. It's just and I'm not saying it's a flawless system by no means. I'm just saying like I understand why it's there and I wouldn't know how to do it differently. And overall, I think it's more like the positive side wins out to me.
Yeah.
Okay, so just as an aside, y'all get that feeling nowadays when you see a release date announcement that's like coming in 2022 and you're like, oh, it's not coming out for another 2 years, and then you realize it's 3 months till 2022.
Yeah, I get
It's
that
1
a
month
lot.
and a half.
Oh my god, I didn't even get that right. Oh god.
I'm
Yeah.
32.
Late November, dude.
Makes me feel old as shit.
I mean, to
I'm
be fair,
32. I feel like that all the time.
last year and a half had felt like a massive fucking slurry of
I mean, it
nonsense.
doesn't,
Bro,
it
it's like a
doesn't
black
help
hole
that
in my life.
2020
It's
basically
done.
didn't exist, and 2021 also kind of doesn't.
Look, let's be real. It's been March 2020 for the past 18 months or so.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
That
Just
tracks.
3 more years to go.
But anyway, going
On that subject, though, I must go now. My people need me, and by my people, I mean my body's immune system is breaking down because flu.
Fair enough.
There it is.
Yeah, I know. I think I'm about reached the limits of my immune system for the day. So
Well,
thank you
Before
for
you
having
go,
me.
any last thoughts that you want to share?
I think that Mass Effect is a pretty solid idea, and the problems with the execution mostly come down to the fact that 2007.
I mean, that almost certainly doesn't help. And it was, it's very much the first installment in that sort of that new type of BioWare game that became developed through the Mass Effect series and then the Dragon Age series. It was very much different from the the KOTORs and the Baldur's Gates.
And to answer your question, Laura, I am actively looking forward to playing the next 2 games. And
that's all it had to do, right?
Yeah, I see enough good potential in the first game that I'm like, okay, I'm sold on the concept. Now just please make the gameplay better in the subsequent games.
That said, we are incredibly sad that
wish
Rex
will
will
be
not be a
granted.
companion.
I will never emotionally recover from it.
You get another fun Krogan, and he's voiced by Steve Blum.
Okay, that's okay.
That's some level of solace.
At least a little bit of consolation.
Yes.
I know who y'all are talking about, but I'm not going to say who. He is great, though.
But yeah, sorry for leaving early. But
Yeah,
it's fine.
no worries.
thank you for having me. Bye bye.
See you, Fezzy.
Get well soon.
But yeah, going back to Shepard, I love our punk Shepard, who's just
Shepard's
tired of everything.
Shepard's really fun because there's such a vastly customizable character that no two Shepards are 100% the same.
Yeah.
Unless you choose every single dialogue option the exact same as some other person, which is super difficult to do.
Yeah.
Not if you're just doing Paragon for everything.
As
Or Renegade
it's probably Jennifer Hale's best performance in a video game to date.
She's great as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard any of her other stuff, but I don't know.
She's
She
done
was
a
good.
lot.
She's done tons of stuff. You've probably heard
She
her in
has
something.
a lot of voice roles.
Yeah. I think for a time she was the most prolific voice actress at all.
I think she's a bit less active nowadays, but not by much.
Yeah,
Look
and
her
mostly
up.
just because she's doing bigger things that just take more time.
In 2013, she was recognized by the Guinness World Records as the most prolific video game voice actress.
For a time, she definitely was, together with Steve Blum, as the most prolific voice actor.
She has her own page on Wikipedia for her filmography
Yeah.
alone.
Video
I think
games.
most recently she has done the new Ratchet and Clank.
Yep, she was Rivet in Ratchet and Clank. What else has she been in? Oh, she was Krem in Inquisition. That's interesting.
Yep. She
Oh,
was
right.
also Bastila in Knights of the Old Republic. And
She
I mean,
was,
honestly,
Speaking of
she's
Knights of
done
the
a
Old Republic,
shit
I
ton of
hope
work.
they make a new iteration of that in like the Mass Effect style.
I mean,
They
they
are
announced
actually
they
a
announced
remake.
that they're doing something with the first one.
Ooh,
Yeah,
I really
either
hope
doing a
so.
remaster
I would
or a
be
remake.
I
so down
I
to play
love
that game.
KOTOR. Like
Yeah,
that's
I'd
the
love
one
to-
game
I
that I
watched all
may
the,
have
like,
played more
side
than Mass
stuff.
Effect.
yeah. I've watched all the cutscenes and stuff for it, but I just never got up the courage to buy the game because I heard it's like not the best gameplay.
It's also just not a great experience to getting it to run at all on a modern PC. Like,
Oh, okay. She actually played Jean Grey in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
yep.
She was also in 16 video games throughout 2005.
Yeah, like she's active as fuck.
She put in work.
She also was in Avatar: The Last Airbender, the bounty hunter June is I think her name.
June, yes, she was
Yeah.
June.
That was also Jennifer Hale. She was also Avatar Kyoshi in her 2 appearances. Like, she's just doing a lot of
That's
work.
awesome.
You've definitely heard her in
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, Avatar
Okay.
Kyoshi. She was also Carol Danvers in Avengers: Earth's Mightiest Heroes.
Yep.
And she was also, let's see. Oh shit, she was in DuckTales too. I almost forgot about that.
My
DuckTales.
favorite Jennifer Hale role is of course also in Mass Effect, but not Shepard. It's the ship AI whenever you leave the Normandy.
Oh yeah, that's fun.
Like, that's Jennifer Hale, and it just sounds exactly like Shepard. It's so funny to me that.
Oh,
like,
the one that Fuzzy and I got
No.
annoyed at every time because it kept saying that Presley was in charge of the ship while we were away.
Yes, exactly.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, I forgot she voiced Killer Frost in one of the Suicide Squad animated movies.
Yep. I mean, yeah. Honestly, you can probably do 20 episodes on Jennifer Hale alone because she's done tons of stuff.
That's the interesting
Oh,
thing
yeah.
about voice actors is they like generally the good ones are in fucking everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got your Jennifer Hales, your Matt Mercers, your Travis Willinghams.
Your Christopher Sabat's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's
Just
to an
everything.
extent. To an extent, that's why I stopped, or why I started watching things in English, not in German, because the thing is that's much more pronounced here in Germany, because we dub everything. So like, for me, Trunks, Yami Yugi, Chris Turk from Scrubs, Zuko, all the same voice, all the same guy
Wow.
in Germany.
There was a 2003 Hobbit video game.
Yes, it's terrible.
Oh, Jack, is that the one that we played at Ricky and Maggie's place that one time?
No, I think it was a Lord of the Rings game. Or
That's
maybe it
also
was a
terrible.
Harry Potter game.
That's also terrible.
No, but like one of
No,
the,
it was
one of the-
definitely Lord of the Rings, but yeah.
one of the appeals for stuff like Critical Role is just the abundance of voice actors you see in those kind of projects, and the familiarity you are with.
That's
Basically,
kind of the thing.
like
Most
you have seen at least one of them in something.
Yeah, most people I know got into Critical Role because they were kind of interested in Critical Role. I got into Critical Role because I was a huge fan of Laura Bailey and Matt Mercer. Kind of just like, hey, they're in that, so I'm going to watch that, whatever it is.
They're all great. They're really
Yeah.
great.
They are. But
I mean,
anyway,
yes.
let's,
If I was to watch Critical Role, it would be because of my knowledge of the voice actors involved.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
back to Mass Effect for the last
Yes.
15 or so minutes.
Yeah.
Trying to think what else to discuss.
Who did you end up romancing in your playthrough?
We didn't end up romancing anyone because we felt like the
No,
female
interesting.
options weren't very good.
Okay.
They do get better in 2 and 3.
Yeah, because who is it? Because it's
Miranda
either
is best
Caden or Liara in game 1. It's like, no, we'll hold off for now.
You have a few more options in 2. I feel like 3 has your best options.
Yeah.
But for femship, anyways.
I mean, just
For 2,
frankly, I personally am just annoyed that we can't romance Tali.
Unfortunately, femship
Wait,
cannot
can't you?
romance Tali.
Yeah.
Oh, Fem Chef, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of the bigger
I
oversights.
really wish they could because I really wish femship could romance Tali because that would be really great.
And Tully
They
definitely
would
has a
swing that
crush
way,
on
I guess.
Femshep. Like, that's...
I mean, it's
Oh,
it's,
no
It's
doubt.
like a girl crush.
it's
just
the
how
it's the
she's
typical
thinking,
it's
yeah.
the typical BioWare choice, isn't it? The like shitty choice of either you can be the best chap or you can romance Tali.
Yeah, kind of.
Ugh.
I mean, I have always liked Liara, so I have basically in most... Like, I have romanced everyone except Garrus at some point.
Same.
Because
Oh, yeah,
I can't
Garrus
romance
is-
Garrus. He's too good of a friend.
Garrus is a bro, but a
Yeah,
lot of
like-
people who play femship really like romancing him.
Yeah, but I don't
Which
get it.
can
Like,
understand.
I understand it, but I don't. But at the same time, I don't. Like, again, as you said, he's a bro. Like, he's my buddy.
It's not something I could do, but I can understand the appeal of it.
Exactly. No, but most of the time I just end up romancing Liara. But I know
have
that I'm in the
romanced-
minority with liking her. Most people don't really like her. And that's fine.
I have No, Liara is more divisive than widely
Yeah.
disliked.
Yeah, I mean,
I like Liara well enough. I've romanced her on the main playthrough before.
Yeah.
But like,
Put it this way: if I have my way, we'll be going with a gay romance.
well, FemShip does have gay romances consistently available throughout all 3 games. It's just like they're really sparse in the second game, unfortunately.
yeah.
If we have to wait until Game 3 to do a romance, we'll wait until Game 3.
Game 3 does have a really good have a couple FemShip romances available.
That's also where FemShip gets the better one. Like,
Honestly, I think the best, if you're going for gay options in Game 2, go for Kelly Chambers.
There's only 2 gay options for FemShip in Game 2, I believe.
Yeah, Kelly Chambers
yeah.
is probably the better one.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame that Jack isn't an option in that one.
Yeah, that's
They
kind of
originally
weird.
planned to make her pansexual too, which is a disappointment.
I mean, we
but they
will
didn't.
probably get into Mass Effect 2 when we get into Mass Effect 2. I don't want to say
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Don't want to get us off track there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about Mass Effect 2 when that game, when Mill and Fuzzy have actually completed that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, literally the only like we made especially sure not to make sure to turn down Liara, as basically we tried to talk to her twice and both times she was like, "So, do you want to go to my quarters and have some alone time?" I was like, "No," and then we just never talked to her again because we were too scared it would keep happening.
Oof.
Yikes.
We were so sure that she would keep like asking us out.
I honestly think in Mass Effect 1 you can shut down all romances basically the second before the cutscene happens. Because they basically come to Shepard's quarters and you can just say, "I'm working," or whatever.
We got worried because we looked it up just so we wouldn't
Yeah.
accidentally stumble into it. And I'm fairly sure it said that like Liara is very easy to accidentally romance.
I mean, Liara is
Yeah.
basically the default romance, and
Yeah.
essentially
Yeah.
in Mass Effect, like,
She's definitely
games.
treated as the default romance option.
yeah,
Partially because you can romance her as either FemShip or MaleShip.
I think I feel to an extent that might be where I like her best, because usually I ship for narrative convenience, and she kind of feels like the quote-unquote intended one,
Yeah.
so I just go with that.
That's fair. I do believe she is the most popular romance option with Shepard for Fem/fans, anyways.
I mean, that
But I
makes
could be-
sense. And I mean, it also kind of makes sense if she were the most popular romance option just by numbers, because anyone can romance her.
I believe the most popular romance options for opposite sex are Tali and Garrus.
Yeah, that makes sense. People are horny for both of them. Yep.
Oh, I
Yeah,
should also point out that I didn't actually find the Scam the Keepers side quest that hard.
It's just annoying.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
more
a-
annoying than hard.
Kind of tedious, honestly.
I wouldn't even say I found it that annoying. I mean, there was a little bit of struggle with like the last one, but I think.
It's kind of just a long-standing joke, because like back when it came out and people were just kind of
I don't think I even used a guide for where they were. I think I just happened to be going around and found the last one by accident.
I mean at this point I just know where they are. I certainly did use a guide at some point, but
Yeah.
But anyways,
What else? Fuzzy nearly got addicted to the gambling. That was a.
Dude, it is fun.
not
though,
even
I
good
gotta
gambling.
say.
I don't know.
You just don't make a ton of money off of it.
Yeah, no, not at all. But as I said
because
before, you don't really need money.
Yeah, because we were streaming, every time we walked into Chora's den, we kept our camera fixed firmly on the ground. Just in case.
Yeah.
Just in case.
I gotta say, one of the biggest injustices in Mass Effect 1 is that you can't dance anymore. Of course, because the Shepard dance is the best dance.
Shepard can do a great many things, but dancing is not one of them.
That's not one of them.
Yeah.
That is one of the best jokes in the Citadel DLC.
We saved the council because we were told it wouldn't actually make things any better, even though they suck.
They suck, but at the same time, like, not saving them is the actual worst option.
Yeah, because then
Yeah.
the fucking humans take
Or
over, and none of us want that.
Yeah, the thing is, they don't even like. If you don't save them, Mass Effect 2, there's just still a council because, like, they
There's still a
couldn't
council,
let
and
that change.
They just
Yeah,
they
they're
like you even less.
Yeah.
What
Just
else? We made Captain Anderson the whatever it was.
Good.
That's the normal
Captain
choice.
Anderson is better. Did you let
Yeah.
Did you let Anderson punch Udina?
Yes,
Good.
fairly sure we did.
Just as an aside, Keith David is a treasure.
Keith David is
Yes.
a fucking amazing voice actor.
Yes.
we also
Amazing in general.
Great. Fully headcanoned that he and Saren had sex, and that's why
Him
there's
and
such
Saren
bad
being-
blood.
Him and Saren being exes, or just having had a one-night stand would be hilarious as a concept.
Yeah.
That's no.
I
We
don't
enforced-
think so. Also because of things I know, but from the books and stuff.
Oh, I mean, it's almost certainly not true, but
I mean, no.
Fuzzy and I
No,
like to
if you
headcanon
wanna
it because
go
it's
there at
hilarious.
all,
But the
Aaron
idea
probably
is not
killed his
terrible.
boyfriend
Yeah.
or got his boyfriend killed. If you even want to go there at all.
Yeah.
I mean,
we
if you count Nihilus, though, maybe Nihilus would be better as Saren's ex-boyfriend.
I was gonna say they may have had something going on.
we unfortunately let Captain Kirahi die. We just-
no!
Oh,
completely by accident. We didn't know what we had to do to keep him alive, and I think
Nah,
Fuzzy was the
shit.
one playing and just accidentally walked past a bit, and then he was
How
dead.
do you keep him alive? Because I don't think I've ever
You
successfully.
just complete the side objectives on Vermeer.
Just do all the side objectives and always do anything to make it easier for his squad.
We did
Well,
not
yeah.
do that.
Doesn't he die anyway?
Nope.
No, he does not. Like,
What?
Mill, if you go back and replay that section, you can save his life pretty easily.
Oh no, I'm
Yeah.
sure we can, but we
You
just didn't
need to
know.
track that side
We didn't
quest,
know that we had to do it in the first place.
Same here. I've never done that.
I mean, the side
if
quests
I'm
are
also not
really
great at checking
easy.
the codex, so like that's on me. Or checking the
I don't even know
page.
if you get anything for saving him, like, but you can definitely save him.
Probably get XP for it at the very least.
I mean, yeah, you get a few XP, and no, I meant later down the line in the later games. I think. Oh no, I think you get a squad in Mass Effect 3, like the readiness thing, which makes no sense anymore.
Yeah.
Is a bit higher with him.
Yeah, no, Kiriki is not, like, super important, but having him around for the later games is still fun.
Yeah, definitely.
We did put the work in to make sure Rex survived, though, which is quite nice.
Good.
hmm
Very good.
Rex not surviving is just bad overall.
It's just
It's
a
really
tragedy. Like, yeah, I've done that once, just like basically just to check the box to have done it once, and it makes the playthrough so much less fun.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
I've just never gotten to that point, so I don't know what it's like to not let him survive.
sucks.
Let's see. We saved everyone controlled by the Thorian.
Good.
We
That is also just a very fucked up quest line, if you think about it.
yeah.
Oh yeah, no, the whole Thorian thing is really fucked up.
Terrible,
Like,
yeah.
we didn't go into it that much, but like everything to do with the Mass Effect games are really good at horror.
Yeah, without telling
Yep.
you.
That one Paragon quest, I think we managed to save the vast majority of the hostages. I don't think we managed to
Oh
get
no,
everyone.
saving
Saving
all of
everyone
them
is
next to impossible.
hard. I did that, like I managed to do it a few times, but like it's hard. It's really, really hard.
I think I was the one playing that, and I think I only lost like one or two people. So
Yeah, but you always lose just one or two.
Yeah.
Basically what you have to do is to play that without a squad. Just do it alone. Because
I don't
the
think
squad
I
will
even
shoot
really did much in that one. I think I kept getting hit by biotics.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not fun. It's
track.
not fun.
Yeah, no, that's not a good quest.
Biotics are hacks in the first game.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
We let the Ragnar Queen live.
Good.
Good, definitely good. Like,
There's a little Easter egg about that in the second game.
and there's a huge cop out if you don't let her live in the third game.
Yeah, do not kill the Ragnar Queen. It's just
that's just not a good time.
that's not a
No,
good thing.
we let her survive. We let her survive.
Very good, very good.
Good.
What else was there? I think that's about it from
think that's
from
the
my
big ones.
memories.
Yeah.
Let's see. I can't think of any other major choices to
Oh yeah,
discuss. What did you
I've-
think of Vigil?
Vigil was the Prothean AI thing.
yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because it was talking so much louder than everybody else, it was actually drowning out Fuzzy and Gen. So I had to sort of go through it quite quickly. I did like
never managed
Rex's
to
line
reproduce
after the reveal that Vigil turned off the live support for non-essential personnel. Rex's line of, "I bet the non-essential personnel didn't know about this contingency."
Yep. Yep. One of the better lines, definitely.
I mean, I just love Rex in general. I mean, the whole anyone who fights us is either stupid or on Saren's payroll. Killing the latter is business. Killing the former is a favor to the universe.
I don't think
is
Rex
an
has bad
amazing
lines. Like,
character,
Rex is
honestly.
great.
Yeah.
I
It's
love his
really
one
hard
story.
to
I love his one story where he's like, and then I didn't have any ammunition left. What the fuck? Dude? How does that even happen?
Oh, I especially love his story about like his massive epic brawl with the Asari Commando.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Where it's like, yeah, we fought for a few days and then we were out of ammo. I don't know why and how that happens, but well, what can you do?
Have you guys noticed that story is? Oh wait, no, that's a Mass Effect 2 thing. Can I still say
Yeah.
it though, or okay? It's
No.
eerily similar to Arya's story with the patriarch.
I
mean-
God damn it. God damn it.
I don't know what you're
Sorry.
talking about, so I don't really care.
You were
I'll
too
probably
late,
forget
I
it.
asked.
I'll probably
said
forget
no.
it. It's fine.
Anyways. Yeah. What are your overall thoughts on the game though, Mil?
I think it was a good game. I don't think it's one that I'm gonna like go out of my way to replay a bunch of times. I'll probably will just do my own run at some point on my own and see what that's like, but I'm not sure when I'll do that.
I mean, here's the thing. You're gonna get to the point, if you want to replay 2 or 3, you're just gonna replay 1, 2, because,
Yeah.
you know, you need a shepherd.
Yeah. I feel like out of the three games,
That's
one
usually
has
why
the
people
worst
replay Mass
replayability.
Effect 1.
Yeah, 'cause
One
it's so damn
definitely has the worst
tedious.
replayability of the three
Yeah.
games.
I mean,
Like,
again,
I mean, I like that you can kind of go and explore the planets, but I hate that you have to.
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of these things. They had an idea and didn't like what they did with it was probably the best they could do, and that isn't very good.
Well, I don't mind the concept of the Mako, but it's just badly executed.
Yeah, and
The
honestly,
Mako
even
sucks.
even if the Mako weren't terrible, you're essentially going on a tiny empty map, looking for the one point of interest where you go to shoot a few people,
Yeah.
and do that 48 times for every single planet. That's not super interesting.
Yeah.
It's not very I like that. I mean, in the second game, they do a much better job about it. Like when you go to a planet, it's pretty guided, and you're just along
Yeah.
a certain path.
Yeah, that just works better for.
Story purposes.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
just
it's
streamlines it.
In Andromeda, they went back to a more open exploration, and I think it was a bad choice because.
Yeah.
but yeah, it's,
Anyways.
I think it's a good start. I think it's a good start, and
Yeah, I mean, as I said, that's all it needed to do. If you're interested in playing the next one, it's got you hooked, and that's why you make a part 1 of something.
Yeah. Overall, good game. I think just the next two are better.
It gets a C+ from me.
I'd say B minus, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm also more in the B range, but again, this is kind of my thing.
Bias.
So I wouldn't compare my experience with Mass Effect to anyone else's experience with Mass Effect.
But yeah, that about does it for this stream.
Good, it's 4 a.m.
We're not doing D&D tomorrow because Kaido is out of town. But we will see if we can do something else.
Yeah.
Possibly, maybe. It would be a bit later than usual, but we will see what we can do. Maybe Among Us. We will see.
Yeah, we'd have to get enough people, and I don't think we could. But
Tuesday, I don't know if we're doing. I don't know if Fuzzy and Mill are doing anything on Tuesday or not, but they might.
Control. Control is the default for the time being.
Okay. Thursday is Thanksgiving here in the States, so I don't think we're doing anything.
Well, I might do something then.
Okay. And Saturday is our mid-season check-in for fall 2021's anime season.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that about does it for this stream. Thank you all for tuning in, and have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.